Okay, I'm going to try to keep this short because you're probably going to hate it, and shorter, if nothing else, click-through rate. Unpopular opinion about crowdfunding. I'm not into it. I don't do it. I stay far away from it. For what it's worth, I don't push this upon anybody. This will be the only video I make about this reasonably. I'm just going to talk about my opinion about crowdfunding for filmmakers specifically, and then I'm going to go back into being quiet about it because this is just a hilariously unpopular opinion and it's just born for fights. I don't do it. It's not for me. I think crowdfunding is mostly abused by filmmakers. That's really what I think, but I don't even care about that part of it. That part of it doesn't even really affect me. The fact that, the most successful crowdfunding campaigns for movies of all time have been celebrities, whatever. It's not my life. It annoyed me at the time, but life's too short. I think there's certain times and places where crowdfunding is good and or necessary because it's supplementing what should be like a government program or like a nonprofit's purpose, which is, social good stuff, documentaries, stuff bringing awareness to things, stuff bringing awareness to social, problems mostly. I think crowdfunding is actually really good, and I think donating to those programs, if I were to donate to anything, which I don't, and I probably never will, I certainly haven't yet, that would be what I donate to because I can see the bigger than all of us, side of it. I get that. But then there's vanity projects, which I consider anything that's not for the social good stuff. That's where I draw the line. That's where I might have an unnecessarily high bar about this, but I think most stuff where you're crowdfunding for movies is vanity projects and is really only serving one person, and that's the person crowdfunding for it. And it's just gross to me. I'm not into it. There's also the fact that, and I'm not making this all up, I took Seed and Spark's filmmaker class that they make you take for crowdfunding before you can be on their platform. I honestly did a real deep dive in this. I know less about Patreon, but Seed and Spark, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, I understand all those. I actually have a real problem with the fact that my film school let everybody use Indiegogo because Indiegogo lets you collect whatever you make. I'm super not okay with that. But I'm not the one making the rules. So I don't donate to crowdfunding stuff. I don't expect to ever crowdfund something myself. Never say never. If I can find something that is objectively bigger than me and objectively helps people, maybe at the cost of me, then maybe that's worth crowdfunding. But I'm not, I haven't come across that yet, and I don't see that coming anytime soon. For what it's worth, if I'm on set, either getting paid or just donating my time, I don't care if you crowdfunded. I don't want to know how the money showed up. It's worse for me to know how the money got there on your project to begin with. I'm there to put in my labor. I'm there to put in my work and support you in the way I feel comfortable supporting you. If I'm donating my day to you, you have me 100%, and there are no strings attached. I just don't want to know how you crowdfunded. Because I'm there, I've already committed myself to the work. I've already committed myself to making this as good as I can contribute. I'm cool with it. But the asking for money in order to help me advance my career because of me stuff, the thing that Seed and Spark taught me, other than, I feel like I got a pretty good understanding of just how crowdfunding works or a successful campaign works, is the fact that you keep hammering the same email list, the same Facebook group list over and over again. Which annoyed me when I was in film school because I was getting multiple crowdfunding requests from the same people over and over again because everybody was crowdfunding constantly. And I made some really bad choices and picked some really weird fights about that, which I just don't do anymore. I just delete the request and move on because it won't be the last request. For what it's worth, if I get more than 3 crowdfunding requests about the same thing, you'll be getting blocked because I know that's the system that crowdfunding teaches because you just keep pumping it. But yeah, there's also the fact that, like, when I was in film school, because everybody was crowdfunding simultaneously, everybody donated an arbitrary amount of money to the next person, and it just kept going around. So you're basically just, you donate this much, and then you expect to collect this much from everybody else. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that other than it annoyed me, and I have somebody explain that to me because it didn't make sense to me why you would do that. I get it now. You're trying to, show momentum because momentum inspires more donations, whatever. That feels deceitful to me, but it's a best practice. I get that. The part that I have a problem with is every time all that money changes hands, the crowdfunding companies get a cut. So what are we doing here? You're making less money by just moving it around. And any amount of money that makes it a set is better than, so that's what it is. My bad opinion. I don't like crowdfunding. I do my best not to have conversations about crowdfunding with people because obviously this is an opinion that very few people share. And I understand that. And again, there's other types of crowdfunding that have nothing to do with films that I think are great, social good stuff, or if there's an inherent thing like a person in my life really loves this board game, joined a crowdfunding campaign for the custom models so they could scale up and hire a company to make the custom models. That's fine. That's a transaction. That makes sense to me. But that's not how films work. I wish it was because I think that actually makes sense. You say, hey, we're going to do this thing, and everybody goes, great, we're going to donate, and then you give them that thing. But that's just, there's too many more steps in the way for filmmaking for that to really make sense. And so I stay away from crowdfunding. I'm trying not to be the horrible person at the end of the bar ranting about crowdfunding anymore, just because people seem to hold a pretty mostly okay opinion of crowdfunding for the most part. But yeah, I just, I consider filmmaking crowdfunding for the most part vanity projects. And what's even grosser is there's a worse thing than crowdfunding in my scale of crowdfunding, and that is just the rich kids that never had to struggle, because they're in film school, they have all the money to finance their films. Their careers inevitably get going faster than everybody else's, and it drives me nuts. It absolutely drives me nuts. And there's an argument to be made that crowdfunding can sort of bridge the gap a little bit by, crowdsourcing money to try to at least, get close to the rich kids who don't ever have to worry about money on their films. Worry about, obviously they have budgets, but yeah, even then I just, I can't in good faith look family members or people I would have contacted for my crowdfunding in the eyes, especially after a set, if the production has gone less than stellar, which their productions, of course, they go less than stellar. I can't look people in the eye afterwards and go, that's what I did with your money, and you're going to get a signed DVD for it. So it's great for the scrapbook, but unpopular opinion. I feel like I've delivered it as best as I can. I've done a bunch of different versions of this, and it just got kind of weird. So, if you send me your crowdfunding thing, I'm probably going to delete it. I'll read it. I'll look at it. I'll judge the trailer because you're expected to have a trailer based on the Seed and Spark thing that I watched. But don't send me crowdfunding stuff. Just don't. Send me the trailer. I'd love to see it, and I will pay to see it when it comes out. But and again, if you need me on set to work, no questions asked, I'll do it. Even if I'm not getting paid, I've committed myself to donating my time. And as long as you're not a horrible person running a horrible production, I'll stay, I promise. I just don't want to know how you came up with the money, especially if it's crowdfunding, because I don't feel good about grandma financing my career. That's an oversimplification. I admit that's an oversimplification, but that's what it is. Catch you next time.